All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 2 underway right here on Jocks. Appreciate you all tuning in. Listen online, jocksfm.com. App is in your app store. Don't forget to watch live on YouTube. If you're getting up early and you're kind of slow to get out of the house, fire that thing up on YouTube every morning. Put it on the TV. Subscribe to that Jocks YouTube page. You can watch it throughout the course of the day on replay as well. And if you're also at the home and don't want to watch on YouTube, which we wouldn't probably blame you to have to sit there and stare at us, tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jocks Kill. You can just listen that way. We've been talking a lot of Tennessee, Bama. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk Missouri, Auburn. What specifically did you see from the Alabama defense that allowed them to slow down this high-powered Missouri rushing attack on Saturday that maybe Auburn can also have some success with?
Well, I think Bama did a great job of tackling, first and foremost. Starts there. Had they not tackled as well as they did, it'd been probably a little different animal, but they got hat on a hat pretty well, relatively speaking, compared to those that have played against the Missouri Tigers all year. I mean, I think Bama tackled them better than most that I've seen. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that being said, man, I think a big part of it for Auburn is, one, keeping the edge. That might be all points bulletin number 1. Do you see it similarly there? Because I'm a little concerned about the mental side of things.
I think that's a double-sided blade that you just introduced to us there, because I think that works in 2 ways. 1, mentally, emotionally, keep the edge. 2, technically, fundamentally keep the edge. Don't allow those tackles and tight ends to get you hooked out there, and let Ahmad Hardy get outside, right? Because he's been super dangerous there. He's been dangerous inside, but playing the edge and being sound there, I think is something that has to happen. One of the advantages I think that Auburn may have is they don't try to get too cute out there.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of teams, they try to slant or stunt twist, like move a guy in and then replace with the linebacker. I think when you try to do that, some of the things that got Georgia in trouble outside, Auburn did not do that against South Alabama, but I think that was more formational and more against gap scheme. Missouri can bring some of that gap scheme, but that's not where they want to live.
For sure.
Kieran Crawford, Keldrick Falk, the guys that are going to be out there on those edges, you set that thing strong. You maybe spike it, get a little bit of a push right there, and then the back doesn't have an option. He either has to bounce and go outside and get lateral, or he has to cut it up north and south a little bit earlier than he wants to. That's big in this game. However, where your original point was going, that's what we don't know, Greg.
100%.
And when a lot of people have asked me about this game, this team, my response has been, it's going to depend on the locker room. I don't know where they are. I don't know where the desire is. I don't know what the want is anymore. And none of us do. It's not an accusation. It's not pointing fingers. It's just plain and simple. When things are going this way and the tone, the tune of your team and what's in front of them has changed, you don't know how guys are going to react to that.
No, you don't.
And so I guess one of the good things is they've been in this situation of adversity a couple of times this year. So, but you also wonder, when do you get to the end of that road and ultimately the frustration sets in and you don't get the same preparation, the same desire, the same intensity that you have from certain guys most of the season?
Well, that's one aspect of it is I think if they can maintain their edge and still play with the same level of intensity, they should be in good shape along the defensive line. That's key. I also think, too, with Auburn, they need to make sure they're smart at the second level and not over pursue. I loved how Xavier Atkins played last week. I think he's a great player. Very much. I feel like he's really come on these last couple of weeks. So that he's important. I also think, too, it's going to be of the utmost importance for Auburn's offense to take some of the pressure off the defense and have some drives that they can consistently get a couple first downs. There's nothing more demoralizing than watching your offense go 3 and out. And how many 3 and outs did we see there in the second half of that football game last week? I feel like the first downs were few and far between.
There's no doubt. And I think that's something that works against you maybe faster than anything. I was on a team in 98 that we had trouble moving the ball. Our defense was really good. Really good. And I can promise you, when that happens the first 2-3 times in a game, specifically if it's early, you start feeling that.
Of course.
And that pressure starts to mount. And the crazy part about it is, and maybe the hardest part about it is, Greg, you're not feeling it from the fans.
No.
You're not feeling it from the coaches. You're not feeling it from your opponent. You're feeling it from the other side of your sideline.
Correct.
And it's not even intentional from them. You just know that those guys are sitting there going, here we go again.
100%.
You know, another 85 snaps for us and 55 for them. You know, we just sat down. And especially now, these guys are getting over there and start looking at an iPad, and the coach is looking for the remote. They're watching 2 plays and being like, buckle up. Here we go.
Get ready, boys.
Yep. And you feel that.
Of course you do.
It's just that makes you put more pressure on yourself. I think that takes some of your focus and attention away. It allows you to sulk a little bit. It allows you to feel sorry for yourself. And those are not places that you can go play consistently good football when that's in your brain.
And I asked point blank to DJ Durkin last week. I said, is there any frustration on your side of the ball? I asked him that in our coaches meetings. He said, absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Like, we got a really good group. So I'm very optimistic about that being true. I really am. So I asked him point blank, because I told him flat out, like, look, in 2009, there was a 3 or 4 game stretch where we offensively were putting a lot of pressure on the defense, and they hated us. And it was fine. We knew they hated us, and that made us better. And we tried our hardest, and we tried to flip things and get things going in the right direction. It wasn't easy, but we tried to flip things and get things going. So I'm cautiously optimistic that it won't have an impact, but I'd be lying if I said that that's not something that will have an impact. It does. It has an impact, whether you want it to or not, and it might even be subconscious. Like, it's not like they're doing it intentionally, like, oh gosh, our offense doing it to us again. They're not doing that like, that's all subconscious. Like, they know that their job is to not worry about the offense. But how can you not have it impact your performance a little bit if the offense is not holding up their end of the bargain? It does.
It does.
I wish it didn't.
But it's just what it is. And I do think it's maybe an area that Auburn has advantages right now with how this is going is DJ Durkin's demeanor for that. You know, he doesn't have an excuse-making demeanor. He doesn't have a woe is us demeanor. I mean, he's pretty same guy all the time, and he can be intense and he can be fiery.
Totally.
But he's also super positive. And he's a guy that I think just believes, hey, this is the task at hand. This is how we can go out and accomplish that. And it's one of the reasons I think his guys like playing for him. He's not going to demean him and put him down regularly. But I also think he can keep some positivity going there, whereas some other coaches who had a different demeanor, it might not be as advantageous for that side of the ball for Auburn right now. I think that helps them. And just his sort of everyday demeanor that he brings to the facility. So tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring before we continue this conversation.
Well, Fu and his guys have done a terrific job in stockpiling inventory and making sure that they have that inventory and can pass that savings on to you. 50,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring by Shaw in stock right now. You can go and check it out at fuandyou.com. It's awesome. That is that 20 mil wear layer, super durable, super dependable, waterproof, pet proof, all this other amazing stuff. Go and check it out by going to fuandyou.com. And that savings that I discussed, 20 to 40%, you're only going to get that at Shannara Flooring. So if you're thinking about making some changes to your floors, remember Shannara Flooring. When you want CoreTech, call who? Call Fu. Call them at Shannara Flooring at 205-518-6423 or go online at fuandyou.com. Let me ask you this. More concerns. This is going to sound really strange, but just hear me out. More concerns in the near term. Auburn's defense having a bad game, which, by the way, some of the best defenses in America have an off day, or Auburn's offense in general?
The offense in general.
Offense in general?
Mm-hmm.
Not like, hey, Auburn gets gashed one. Like, hey, good defense gets gashed. It happens.
Yeah, I think you look at that and you say it's probably coming at some point.
It's coming. It always
There's just going to be we talked yesterday. Styles make fights. You're going to get a bad style. Stylistically, somebody's going to have advantages of. Look, South Alabama is a perfect example. I mean,
Great example.
They ran counter
100%.
14 different ways, and Auburn just didn't fit it.
And South Alabama, by the way, just lost to Arkansas State last night. Yeah. So, like, this is not a bad football team.
They've won one game.
Correct, and they threw for $1 million.
So, I mean, I think that was one where it was a little bit what the play was. It was you give that coaching staff a lot of credit because they saw something that it's no different, Greg, than Auburn in the first half. And I talked about, if you go watch the game 2 years ago, Hugh's first year in Auburn against Georgia, they did the same stuff that they did in the first half of this game. And Georgia tried to get cute and aggressive outside, and they finally settled down and say, you know what? Just play this thing straight up. Play it flat. If you see the quarterback keep it, go down the line of scrimmage and tackle him. If they give it, or if he keeps it and goes north and south, if he keeps it and gets wide, just run out wide with them trying to make the play. We're going to let the linebackers take the fast guys and let them just go cover the perimeter. And then all of a sudden it worked. And then Auburn has to counterpunch that. And that's styles, makes fight. That's coaching. That's adjustments, all those things. But you can't ask a defense to do this, what they're doing every single week with the talent they're going to see, the coaching they're going to face, and the style offenses they're going to have to defend. You can't ask it. And there's going to come a time where a guy's going to just go off.
Yes.
I'll be the first one to admit, when I saw the schedule for next week, I think it's Auburn and Arkansas at 11 a.m. It's like, here comes one of the Freds running for 200 yards. Fred Talley, Fred Smith, whoever it is, because it felt like it happened in the mid-2000s every year for a decade. So you're going to face guys like that just have your number one day, or there's a play that you haven't had success defending that they execute extremely well, and you have trouble adjusting to it. It's going to happen. So my bigger concern would not be that the defense is going to let them down at some point, because I think that's just going to be natural. My concern would be when that happens, because we all know it's going to take place, can the offense pick up the slack? They haven't proven that they can yet.
See, but here's my thing. I saw enough in that first half against what I think is a pretty good defense to think that the offense might be okay. I'm not saying it's going to be a top 25 group in college football. I'm not saying that. I think they kind of found out enough about themselves last week that's like, okay, we can do this. We can't do this. We're going to be okay here. We have great weapons at wide receiver. The offensive line, I think, has a chance to be a little better if they can stay on schedule and not make critical errors in scenarios where they're putting themselves behind the sticks with false starts and pre-snap penalties. I think the offense is actually, by season's end, probably going to be all right. My concern is if it becomes...
Let me stop you there.
Yes.
And I ask this in all sincerity.
Yes. They cannot win track meets.
If the offense does get right, and I'm not saying that all of a sudden they turn into a top 10 offense in all of college football, but let's say they get to the point where if the defense does have a letdown, they can even that out, and they can make them more competitive, move the ball consistently. Is Jackson Arnold playing quarterback? And I'm not trying to start a controversy. I'm not asking for the kid to get benched, but I do think we've reached a point now where this is at least a fair conversation to broach.
It is. It's a fair conversation. I'm not super confident in Jackson Arnold, if you want me to be honest. And it's not critical of his how hard he's working at it. I think he's working his tail off at it. But I think this is a young man that is struggling when he gets punched and something goes wrong. It's hard for him to get it back on the rails. And it's here we go again type of situation. And that concerns me. I think if you are a quarterback in this league, man, you're going to get punched a lot. Like, you're going to take some beatings, and it's awful. There's nothing worse. Like, you just feel terrible and you get got, and it's the worst. Like there's going to be games where you are just not seeing the field. Even the best players in the country have been humbled in this league. It's hard. So if you can't weather the storm, man, that's hard.
Right.
So I'm not saying that he doesn't give you a good chance to win. I think he does.
Certain aspects of his game do.
100%.
Other aspects of his game don't.
But when things go sideways and they go off the rails, can he take the punishment that happens in this league from time to time and live to tell the tale?
And I think too, when you say punishment, you're not even referencing.
I'm not taking like hits.
You're not even talking about Whit Weeks. You're not even talking about Marvin Burks. Like you're talking about not just that though, but like from the media, from the fans,
correct,
on social media,
getting booed in your home stadium.
That's all of that also mounts when this begins to happen. And notice, neither one of us have said another quarterback on that roster's name. It's not like we're begging to turn the page because we have all this confidence in some other guy. Ashton Daniels might be great. Deuce Knight might be great one day. But just remember, we're not saying that this guy is the answer now, the other guy at least. So we're just saying that based on how it's gone, based on what it's been, we believe it's a fair conversation to at least begin to have now when you're talking about, can this offense get to a certain place at some point in time in the season? We'll continue that conversation next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Anything you want to get in on Auburn, Alabama coming up this weekend, 800-239-9569. You can do that on the Higginbotham hotline, 800-239-WJOX. After we finish up this conversation with the Auburn offense, I want to get into the college football playoff because there was something that we both agreed upon that would happen with this year's college football playoff that I want your opinion on if you think it's still going to take place. We'll get to that in a few moments. First, I want to continue this conversation on the Auburn offense. You asked the question, can that offense get to a point where they offset maybe a bad defensive performance that we all would imagine at some point in time is coming, just based on what you're going to get each and every week in this league, how things are going to go. It's another one this week. I mean, you get maybe the best running back in college football, a very difficult run scheme to defend. It's going to start with the outside zone. They're going to give you movement, pre-snap, post-snap. They're going to give you quarterback run. They're going to give you good tight end play, quick game, shot plays. It's a lot. You think about Arkansas, might not be the best offense, but you got Taylor Green, a guy that can take a game over. Then you're going to get that Diego Pavia Vanderbilt offense, which is essentially defending triple option. Now, Mercer, I know you like to think they still have a tricky offense. They do not, but you might get the best quarterback in the league in Ty Simpson when you play Alabama in an offense that takes advantage of the entire field, which is what I think is the coolest thing about what Alabama and Ryan Grubb are doing right now is they're making you defend all of it. They're using everything at their disposal, which makes it extremely difficult to defend. Something Auburn's not doing, Greg. There are portions of things that a defense can ignore. And when you allow that to happen, you make your focal points that much easier to take away.
Correct. At what point are you going to answer me this? How many times this year has Auburn hit a throw that was not within, 10 yards over the middle of the field? See, they'll hit those little tight ends on the Scat 66s. They'll hit the Hanks. Like, they'll hit those things over the ball at 7 to 10. But how many times has Auburn actually challenged the defense down the middle of the field at 12 or more yards? They tried it last week, and guess what? Wide open for a touchdown, and it was missed.
Yep.
Everything else.
And we praised the tight end use last week. I thought they did a great job involving them formationally and in the passing. I wanted to see them use the seams a little bit more with the tight ends, just because with those perimeter runs and how you had the jet motion coming with it out of two back, you had all that flow. It felt like I saw him film multiple times where, man, if you just snuck that tight end north and south, like straight up the field right there, he would have been completely forgotten about. Now, we can say that about any offense in any game. Like, oh, if you'd have just done this with this one guy. But look kind of like what Ole Miss does with Daquan Wright. Not that they're the same offenses, but how they move him, formation him, and then use him in the passing game. Like, there's a lot of times he's forgotten about. And then it's like, boop, oh, you throw it to him, he's got 25 yards in front of him. Nobody's anywhere near him. And I felt like that's something that Auburn had chances to do. But again, it's a little bit of a forgotten portion of this offense that defenses don't have to pay a ton of attention to.
I think that's fair. I also think there's parts of this offense that they can't get to at this point because they don't trust their quarterback and he doesn't trust himself.
Right.
And he also doesn't have like a real great touch where he can just loft one over the top of an underneath linebacker and underneath the safety. Like he doesn't have the next level negotiating defenders type of throws. Like it's a drive ball, like it's a low ball, it's a flat ball. It's just not really who he is at this point. So, we'll see where it all goes, but I am pretty encouraged by what I saw last week with the rhythm that they played with, the tempo that they played with, and things like that. I think they need to play with more tempo. I think they need to and if that puts their defense in a tough spot, fine. But at least you're going to get a little more simplified coverage. I want to see more tempo. I want to see more speed. I'm not saying it needs to be super, super hyper speed throwback. You snap it every 15 seconds, but I think that'd be helpful for Jackson. Just eliminate the thinking, let him play fast and run him into the ground. If that's what you got to do, quarterback runs your friend. You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of the things that I was going to ask you is what do you think the offense can do to help him play more successfully and play more aggressively? And maybe tempo is one of the answers there, that just things they can do inside of what they have at their disposal that you feel comfortable would work. And that may be it for him. Mike in Montgomery wants to talk Auburn. Welcome into the show, Mike. How are you today?
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Doing
what's
well,
happening?
thanks.
Hey, so I wanted to just bring up the Auburn-Georgia game just one time. I know it's in the past, but one thing that nobody's talking about that really bothered me was even after that was, to me, that was a fumble. I'm an Auburn fan. I thought it was a fumble. But when Georgia gets the ball, they're at the 1 foot yard, the 1 yard line, right? They're in the end zone. On first down, they do like a little quarterback up the middle just to get it off the goal line. Why did Hugh Freeze call a timeout? Why not just let the clock run out, get into halftime, regroup? You just had a bad call. Go against your way. Get into the halftime, get in the locker room, and get refocused and come back. Why are you calling the timeout to give them more time to go down there and get a score?
No, I like the timeout there, and I'll tell you why. Because the likelihood of them getting points running from an analytics standpoint with your defense and how they'd played, you tell me. Do you remember how the defense had played up to that point? It was Georgia had 20 yards of total offense in the first 29 minutes of that game. I mean, so the likelihood of a 3 and out and getting the ball back at midfield with a minute and 30 seconds left, or a minute 25 seconds left, is pretty high based on how things had gone in the first 29 minutes of that game. Now, with hindsight, it's like, oh, well, they went down and scored, you saved them time, and they went down and stole points. Yeah, with hindsight, okay, sure, yeah, it didn't work out. But I think at that point, you play the odds. Taking that time out 100% made sense. It was the correct decision.
Well, I just thought you only had 2 timeouts left. Even if you do get the ball back, you're not really going to have a whole lot of time to do anything. And I just thought, with what just happened, just get in the locker room, get regrouped, and
see. But I don't want my quarterback sitting on that for 30 minutes. I want, hey, if we can get the ball back at midfield and we can go down and steal some points, I can get Jackson feeling comfortable again, get him going into the locker room, feeling confident again. I 100% am rolling the dice there. You can be critical of a lot in that game. That, to me, is not one of them. That, I think, was giving your team the best chance and trying to steal another couple points before half, and it didn't work out. They got gashed on the next run, and they gave them 30 yards of penalties with defense that was playing out of control. So, hey, like I said, hindsight's 20/20, but I will not be critical of that decision at all.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got to say.
It's all good. I think it's a good observation. And I think, like, if we're looking at it from a hindsight standpoint, you are 1,000% correct. 1,000% correct. But I don't think it's fair at this point to judge based on hindsight. I think at the time we have to evaluate what was best at that time. And to me, I think he made the best decision at that time. Cole, would you agree, or are you on his side?
No, I wanted you to answer that because I don't watch the game that way, just like you didn't watch a lot of other games that you have seen now that way. You were in the moment with it. You saw it live. I didn't watch this game live, so I didn't know what the feel was. I didn't know what the vibe in the stadium was. And I think you make a great point about what the defense had done and how they had been playing, and the percentages of taking the ball there to score, not great. Could you put and also too, what was the score at that point?
It was 10-0.
7-6 at the half.
I'm sorry,
10-3 at the half. So was a score at the half. So 10.
It was 10-0.
10-0 at that time.
Yes,
you're probably thinking if we can get the ball back and kick a field goal, that is extremely valuable.
And you're getting the ball back more than likely at midfield. And at that time, Georgia had 20 yards of offense.
Yeah, field goals felt like premium points.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I can get my quarterback feeling good going into the locker room.
Yeah,
and that's a good feeling.
Obviously, didn't work out that way, but I think there are good observations on both sides of that.
100%. And I think the caller brings up a totally fair and responsible point with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah. It's an interesting look back to see exactly how that was. I want to talk a little bit of the college football playoff picture when we come back. Going to have to wait for that. But one thing you never have to wait for, GMAC, is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of. They're the urgent care office where you can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you in Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. They can get you on Fridays and Saturdays, and they can also give you an opportunity to see them with whatever age your person is that needs the dental care. Emergencies or routine dental appointments are available. So call Family Care Dental today at 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
All right. When we come back, teams with a certain amount of losses getting into the college football playoff. It was a conversation before the season. How different do we feel about it now? We'll discuss that next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in, being a part of the show. Wednesday, October 15th, right here on Jocks. G-Mac, tell our listeners about Canty.
Canty can fix it. That's for sure. Canty Foundation Specialist, new to the area, but they've been doing this for a very long time all throughout the Southeast. And here in Alabama, there's a million different factors that can lead to foundation problems in your home. The soil shifting, uneven ground, moisture, weather, lots more, including just the age of your home. So if you're noticing concrete sinking or uneven driveways or walkways, if you're noticing uneven or sagging floors, feels like the house is kind of sloping, if doors and windows aren't sticking or they're not closing properly, then you need to call our friends at Canty Foundation Specialists. They offer free inspections and estimates so homeowners know exactly what's going on under their house, and their work is backed by a lifetime transferable warranties. Call them today at 205-509-3991 or go online to Cantey, C-A-N-T-E-Y, canfixit.com. That's Canty, canfixit.com.
All right, usually joins us at a different time on Wednesdays, but going to join us today at this time and catch up. Trent Dilfer, former UAB head football coach, wanted to hop on. Coach, we've appreciated everything you've done throughout the course of your career here in Birmingham, and I know it's not the way you wanted things to turn out, but I know you're appreciative of the opportunity you were given here in the Magic City.
I really am. Obviously, it's been a flood of emotions. One, I appreciate you guys. You know, my wife and I talk about all the time. I got to know you guys. You're great dudes, but you do things the right way in the media. You're fair. Man, and we plan on staying here. We love the city. We've just fallen in love with the city of Birmingham. We've felt love. The people, our church, our communities, just been amazing. You know, really, really happy and grateful for the opportunity. I learned a lot. Hopefully I've grown a lot. Thankful for the people that I've been able to coach with. So obviously crushed that we couldn't do more. I'm crushed for the families of the 40 plus staffers that have poured their hearts and souls into this. I'm crushed for some of the players. I'm crushed for Blazer Nation that I couldn't do more. But more than anything else, I've just been flooded with gratitude and really reflecting on what a very hard experience it's been, but a very fruitful one as well.
Well, you referenced that you plan on staying in Birmingham, Coach, and that's awesome to know. That's great to hear. But what is it about this community that has really called to you and your wife?
The quality of people, the friendliness, the welcoming nature. Again, we're very tied in to Church of Highlands, the Woodlawn campus downtown. We just really love the people, the support. Love the area. I mean, I just love the Southeast in general, being a California kid. Love being out here. So I'm going to take some time and go travel around the country and learn from other coaches. I want to be better at this. I don't know if another opportunity will come up. I do know I want to coach, but I want to be a better coach. I'm going to go learn from some guys I really respect. And I'm going to work at my craft and try to be better the next time I put a whistle around my neck.
Is there any part of you that looks at being a college coach or high school coach down the road any different as far as maybe what you desire, what you want to be, where you feel like you should be? Or professional for that matter?
I just want to be better at it. I don't, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. We had some successes. Unfortunately, they're not the successes that are in the scoreboard or in the win-loss column. And you got to get those. I've been around football a long time. You got to win. And we did not win. Not even close to the clip we needed to. I got to do a better job of finding a way to win on the field as well as off the field. I do think we had a lot of success, though. I was reflecting. I was kind of doing a brain dump when I got the news. Like, okay, here's all the things that I need to do better, and we could have done better. But I also want to say, okay, here's the things that I'm really proud of came out of the program. And, We fixed APR, and I don't know if the fan base really knows what an issue that is, but it was a big issue. We're, walked into one of the worst APR situations in the country, and we fixed it. Our team in 3 years, team and coaches served about 4,500 hours in the city of Birmingham. That's a big number. You can do the math there. That's a lot of community service. We have one of the highest GPAs the last couple of years in the history of the program. We cut football student conduct issues in half. We had 22 players baptized in my time there. That's obviously very important to me, my faith. We elevated 20 staffers to the Power 4 of the NFL level. So that's in 2.5 years and really 2 coaching cycles to lose 20 staffers to the Power 4 of the NFL. It was hard, but I count that as a success because they were able to elevate. And we had another 12 staffers that got upgraded in the G5 level, so made more money or elevated positions. We launched 14 players to the Power 4 level, which, again, is hard, but it's a success because you help people reach new heights. And then I am really proud of what we were able to do offensively. It was awful stretch defensively, but offensively we did a lot of really good things and took 2 quarterbacks that had virtually no playing time before we got our hands on them. We made them 2 of the more efficient quarterbacks in college football and completion percentage. So I am proud of those successes, but they all pale in comparison to losing as many games as we did, not being able to win a game on the road. So I understand what the business is, and I want to be able to do both. I want to be able to take a program and win on the field as well as off the field.
Well, you did it the right way, Coach, and I think you should hold your head high for those reasons. You reference all the improvements that the program made in your time. And look, we all know that it's about wins and losses. There's no spin in that. But I know you're proud of what was accomplished and some of the things that guys got from having played in the program. How would you anticipate – look, you hired Coach Mort. You love Coach Mort. He's done a great job, obviously. But what advice would you give him to, help try to keep this thing on the rails or help try to win some games down the stretch?
Yeah, we talked a lot that day, that evening, a lot. Stayed up really late that evening and talked. We've talked a few times since. He's built for this. He will be a head coach at some point, so I thought this would be a great opportunity for him to cut his teeth. He's well respected in the building. He's got command. It's going to be a little overwhelming because he's used to just handling, so much of the offense and not dealing globally with the program, but he'll do a good job with that. And he has good people around him. He has really good department heads, as he mentioned, that can pick up the slack, fill in gaps, handle their departments well so he doesn't have to. Managing game day will be a challenge because he's so used to just managing the offense, but he has really good offensive coaches that he can lean on. I think they got to people. I know most people think I'm crazy, but I think they can beat Memphis. That was my last message to the team was, we're sad, it hurts, but go beat Memphis. Like, don't let this take away from your objective this week, and that's to go 1-0 and go beat Memphis. I think he'll get them ready the best he can to do that. So, and he'll keep them together. The one thing that more, talking a lot about his time with Nick and me and his other coaches he's been around, the Dables, the Billy O'Briens, like the one common thread of all of us that we all believe in a player-driven team. Like all of his head coaching mentors believe that the best teams are player-driven, the best teams are player-inspired, the best teams are players hold each other accountable, and that will be the message that he preaches. So there's a lot to play for. One of my biggest regrets is I don't get to coach in this game this week. The Children's Harbor game is immensely important. I mean, immensely. It is the biggest moment of the season each year, and I made sure I recognized that early on. And one of my last things I told Mort was make sure they understand, the new guys, who's 49 new guys, that this is the game. The Children's Harbor game is the game, and it trumps everything else, and it's about playing for something bigger than yourself. And our past teams really believed in that, and it's a legacy that Bill Clark started, and it's one of the best traditions in all college football. So I think he'll really double down on that too, and they'll be emotionally inspired because they're playing for something just bigger than themselves and bigger than the institution.
I don't think there's any doubt, Coach. And it's cool to hear you say these things. It's cool to hear you share them. We are very appreciative of your time on this show specifically and in Birmingham here over the last few years. Whatever is next for you, we wish you the best in it, man.
I appreciate you guys. I really do, and I mean that. You guys do it right. You both become friends, and man, I just love this place and want to see it do well. So I'm available to help any way I can. I got a lot of free time on my hands, so.
Well, what's next for you, Coach? Where are you going to go? Who do you want to specifically watch? Like what staffs are you intrigued by from a distance now that you have a little time and want to go learn?
Yeah, I got 4 NFL teams lined up. I'm going to go spend about 3 or 4 days with head coaches that I've known for years, played with, either I semi-hired back in the Elite 11 days, GMs I know. I got calls into 3 colleges. The colleges gets a little funky because I was just in college. You have to have a coach that, is pretty secure. I'll go spend some time with Dabo and Clemson. Got some other calls. And I mean this, I want to get better. Like I've written down all these things that, and I've asked people in the process, the Morts and the people I've been around, like, hey, vet my process. And they're like, you do this really well. And, most people in complimentary, but there's got to be something I'm missing. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of external factors, you can't be as bad as we were for 2.5 years without doing something drastically wrong. So I want to figure out what that wrong is. I want to see how they handle the week, the process, player engagement, salary caps, off-field things, disciplinary, accountability, all these different things that go into the chair. I want to see the different types of players, what they look like at different programs, how they move, how they practice, and then get some graduate level stuff in the NFL, just some higher level football stuff. But it's like anything. I just want to get better. It's like if you're a golfer, right, and you're struggling to lower your handicap, what do you got to do? You got to go find a better instructor. You got to fix the swing flaw. You got to do whatever it takes to get the ball in the hole. Like I got to learn to do whatever it takes to get the dubs. So I want to go to work on myself and be better the next time around.
Coach Dilfer, thank you so much, man. We appreciate the time. It's good to hear from you. Obviously didn't want it to be under these circumstances, but we do wish you the best in whatever comes next.
All right. Well, again, go Blazers. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, Coach. There you go. UAB head coach Trent Dilfer, former UAB head coach, joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. Kind of wanted to just share his sentiments with the city, GMAC, that he spent a couple of years here doing.
Yeah, and he's a good man. It's hard to win. I love him. He's a good friend, and I wish badly it would have worked out. I mean, I absolutely wish so bad that would have happened for him. I'm thrilled to hear that he's intrigued by staying here in the Magic City. I think he's a good person to have in our community, and hopefully he continues to feel that way. It's just a bummer that things didn't materialize for him, because nothing would have made all of us happier than to see UAB succeed.
I don't think there's any doubt. So we will continue the college football conversation, as I've mentioned a couple of times, talking playoff and what type of teams we expect to be in. We'll finish that conversation next right here on Jocks. All right, Austin Price is coming up at 9 a.m. We'll talk to him in 10 minutes. But first, I wanted to discuss the college football playoff. And before the season, Greg, we had a conversation about what type teams would get in. We both agreed that a team with 3 losses would get in.
Yes.
When you look now at where things stand from a college football playoff perspective, do we believe that that will still be the case? Let's just say the ESPN All-State College Football Playoff Predictor is our guide.
Yes.
We'll use that as our compass for now. Ohio State, Indiana, 95, 93%. Alabama, 83%. Miami, 81%. A&M, 79. Georgia, I'm not going to do percentages anymore.
Why are you down on them?
Georgia, well, I don't think it matters. Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Memphis, BYU, Texas. Those will be your 12 teams in. Now, we also understand that sometimes conference affiliations and championships, different things of that nature,
correct,
can force a team in or out based on who would win a certain game. But if we took that right there, if those were the 12 teams based on their records now, their schedules ahead, I find it hard to believe that we would have a 3-loss team in.
I'm with you.
So
hear me out for a second. One, down the stretch, you know how this goes. Like we always just assume that the teams that are down are going to crater, which won't happen. But that's always an assumption. For example, let's use a team like the Florida Gators. Like, tell me the team on Florida's schedule right now that they can't beat.
Well, they are a great example because they ruined it for a team last year.
Correct. Like they will.
If they get, once again, style fights, if they get in their style game, which is not a track meet, not having to play from behind, they're a problem.
100%. So that's one issue. Like in the SEC, for example, there's spoiler teams. A la, not a lot of people expect Vandy to be in there in the playoff.
What teams left on their schedule that they can't beat?
Exactly. Not a single one. They can beat every single team on their schedule. I'm not super confident right now in Oklahoma. Are you?
No, but
they were a spoiler last year, no?
No, and if the offense gets healthy and offensive line can improve as they continue to go, you don't think that they can get anybody they have left?
What about Auburn?
I need to see a little more from the offense.
Okay, another spoiler team, though. The way they play defense, like they're a spoiler team. For sure. You can't deny that. That's the reality. So you have a bunch of spoiler teams in the SEC. In the Big Ten, there are not as many spoilers.
I mean, look at you mentioned Vanderbilt. LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee. What team stylistically is a bad matchup for them?
No, they can get all of them.
I mean, I would say Tennessee's the only one that I look at and say that's probably just a bad matchup because they can score quickly, and if they get a couple touchdowns by even just a DB falling down, then all of a sudden that could be problematic. But the rest of those teams.
But if by week 11, I think Vandy's pretty good on the O-line. Like, I think they can kind of neutralize the D-line that they
very
have.
Very
so, like,
possible.
I also think the Vandy could possess the ball for 44 minutes in that game. I mean, that's a possibility. And now all of a sudden, Heupel's offense only has 40 offensive snaps. That becomes a little dicey. I mean, I'm not saying they can't win that game. There's every single game on their schedule they can win. So there's a lot of spoiler teams in the SEC that makes it challenging. There's also not as many spoiler teams in the Big Ten. The reality is, like, the 4 in the Big Ten that are going to be there more than likely. You think the 4 right now, Indiana, Ohio State, feel pretty good about those two. Still feel pretty good about Oregon, especially what they have on their schedule. Like, SC comes to them. SC could be a spoiler team or potentially be in the field. Oregon also has to face Washington. I think Washington's a good 5-1 football team. They're not bad. But there's not as many spoilers in the Big Ten. Here's the other thing that you got to worry about is Notre Dame. Notre Dame could be on the heels of a 10-game win streak. If they get through this one against SC at home, the only other tough game they have on their schedule is at Pitt. So you have a 10-2 Notre Dame team, potentially, that takes one of the spots. And the last issue that you're going to have to deal with if you are an SEC team and your team is not solidly in the field is the possibility of an upset in the ACC and the Big 12 championship game. Because remember, the conference champs get in. But if Miami is 12-0 going into the ACC title game, and that's still a long way from being decided.
Yeah.
But if they're 12-0 going to the ACC title game, let's just say they're 11-1 going to the ACC title game and lose like SMU did last year, are they going to penalize the ACC team that played an outrageously difficult schedule in the non-conference? Of course not. Like Miami will get in, and guess what? The team that wins the ACC will also get in. Same can be said in the Big 12. Texas Tech right now looking pretty good. But let's just say Utah or BYU or whoever they end up playing, let's say they win against Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. Well, boom. Now that Texas Tech is in and the winner of the Big 12 title game is in as well.
I thought the more interesting part of this practice were the next 8 teams. So we just gave you the 12 that ESPN's playoff predictor thinks are in. Here are your next 8 teams, okay, that they're saying are not in. LSU.
Okay.
Which I feel like from that perspective, people have completely forgotten about. And I don't love the offense where it is right now, I'll fully admit, but they're still 5-1.
Correct. And they're going to be a dog. They're a dog this week at Vandy. They're going to be a dog at Bama.
But an elite defense that can keep them in any game.
Correct.
And maybe go win them some games.
Correct. And they can get A&M, they could get Bama, they could get Vandy. Like they could still win 4 or 5 more games and be 10-2.
South Florida next, 5-1, only lost to possibly the number 1 team in the nation.
Well,
they're not right now, but
they wouldn't get in. No shot. If they don't win their conference, there's no way.
Southern Cal, 5-1.
Southern Cal is a problem.
Tennessee, a team that they just had a bye week, but still 5-1. No one talking about them from that perspective anymore.
Few.
Vandy, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Utah, a lot of teams that we just described and types of teams we just described. We'll talk more Tennessee with Austin Price next.